Alright, and good day to my kings, my queens, and everyone in between. Going to be doing something a little bit different today. Going to test out this new mount I've got, jump in the car, have a little scoochy pooch, a little drive around, and just go into detail a bit more about my actual condition. So the last video was very vague. I don't know if I even got my point across clearly. You know, I wasn't trying to go for sympathy or anything like that. I'm merely trying to explain that changes can be made if you are willing to change. So yeah, for educational purposes, I will go into a bit more detail about my cancer, and here we go. Just going to take a little drive up to one of my favourite sort of local roads. Not too sure how the quality is going to come out on this. The angle on the camera is not too bad, I don't think. I've had to kind of bodge a bit of a setup. Just using the phone's audio at the moment. But yeah, I'll just go into a little bit more detail on my condition. Obviously I touched on it in my first video. I just want to get across that in that video I'm not looking for sympathy or anything from anyone. Like, I don't care. I'm just cracking on. I'm doing alright. Just kind of making you aware and trying to let Boogie know really that all of his excuses, they don't cut it, you know. But yeah, let's go. So I was 10 years old when I first started getting symptoms. I just had an injection at school in year 9 called the BCG. Soon after that I started getting like severe headaches and passing out, and my foster carers at the time took me to see a doctor who told me amazingly that this was all side effects of the BCG, so nothing ever came of it. As the years went on with me in secondary school, my symptoms got worse, to the point where people thought I was faking it. Like, I was forced to do PE because my PE teacher would not accept the fact that exercise was making me ill. Which, to be fair, you know, hearing from a 12-13 year old or whatever, that does sound like a bit of an excuse, but it literally was the case. Like, physical exertion would cause my body to be flooded with adrenaline and noradrenaline to dangerous levels, causing me to spike and my heart rate to go crazy. I would have heart palpitations so strong I could literally see my heart beating out of my chest. And then the sweats would start, I'd start shaking, I'd then, you know, frequently vomit and then just pass out. And this continued until I was 17, so all through school, adding to my other issues, which I'll get into on another video. But it was actually my big sister. She had a funny dream about me dying of a weird condition and made me go to the hospital, where the hospital began investigating me. And through various testing, they, you know, discovered it was this pheochromocytoma, which my GP was actually incredibly excited about because it's such a rare thing. Like, it's not very common at all. Like, even endocrinology specialists are just, they all love it when they get to meet me because I'm like a bit of a science project for everybody. Pretty much as soon as it was found out that it was a pheo, I was admitted to King's College Hospital in London, which is a specialist hospital. I stayed there for 2 weeks. I was given so many drugs, beta blockers, blood pressure medications, things like that, to bring me down to safe levels so they could operate. did the operation. It was called a left adrenalectomy. Basically, they had to remove my adrenal gland along with a fist-sized tumour that was attached to it. Luckily, this thing hadn't connected itself to my kidney, so I was able to keep both my kidneys, which is cool. So yeah, they thought that'd be the end of that. I was in hospital for a while afterwards, recovering. I remember they took the stitches out. You know, it was quite a big operation. They had to open me right up. So I've got a scar from like just below the centre of my rib cage to, you know, just above the gentleman. No. But they took the staples out a little bit too early. And shortly after that, I actually sneezed in hospital and the entire wound opened up, which was horrific and put me into shock. And I passed out and I contracted MRSA and all sorts of fun stuff. So I had to have like this specialist vac pump fitted to me for weeks to try and clean the wound, and I had to use all this stupid stuff to scrub my body to, I don't know how MRSA works really. I just know it's not good if you have a massive open wound. It did heal eventually, but it never healed properly, and it left a hole in my muscle wall, which a few years later, when I was unloading, you know, massive PA speakers from the back of a van for a gig we were at, I'd actually managed to pop that muscle wall open and give myself a large incisional hernia, which I still have to this day because no one will touch it. And it's frustrating because it's big, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, but it's not small enough to be dangerous. So yeah, time goes by, many years go by, and at this point I'm working in my local hospital as a security guard. A fucking good one, I will say as well. I made myself up to team leader. I was training all the new staff, trying to get across how important it is to wear your body worn cameras and whatnot, but that's another video in itself. But I started getting pains in my left side, as I mentioned, and it wasn't sudden. Like, this was going on for months, and to the credit of some of my colleagues, I'm eternally grateful for them. The pain I was in, they picked up some of the slack because I wasn't able to carry out my job 100% effectively all of the time. But I booked in up there, and this happened a few times. I kept getting checked. The first guy told me I've pulled a muscle. The second guy told me I just need to do some stretches. The third guy told me it was like some kind of kidney infection, and I'm like, well, it's not, and it's not. And then on the fourth time, there was a lady, I don't know what this guy's doing. She's a specialist trainee, I believe. Her name escapes me, but I'm forever grateful to this woman because she actually listened to me, and that was crucial because she listened when I explained about my condition and that I have this gene mutation causing this endocrine cancer, and as a result, straight away she got me MRI scanned and did some other bits, and within an hour she sat me down, just sort of, she was sat with me, like she was so nice. Like, I think a lot of people would lose their mind upon hearing news like this, but like I say, I've been dealing with it since I was 10. But she sat me down and she told me what had been found, and then she's like, look, we're gonna contact the neurosurgeons in Brighton. You're gonna need to be seen by them. short while ahead. Oh, hello, Mr. Bus. Yeah, a short while later, I was in Brighton. Ooh.
Bus wankers!
And yeah, I've been prepped for surgery. Now this surgery is pretty cool, I will say. They had to basically get to my spine to get to this paraganglioma. Spinal surgery is dangerous, especially when it involves the spinal cord, like directly in the nerves. So they had to push these metal rods through my skull and into my brain, basically, for the operation. Which reminds me of Testament's Electric Crown, which is a fucking incredible song. And in fact, that whole album's pretty good, incredibly underrated album. Yeah, rods through my skull into my brain, and they had to electrocute me. To basically stimulate my legs and the muscles in my legs. So while they're carrying out the operation, another team is monitoring my legs, basically, because if my legs were to stop moving and twitching, then they've made a grave mistake and I'm potentially paralysed, and they have a very short window in which to fix that. Luckily, it didn't happen. The surgery, they thought they were going to be removing it, but like I said, it was too vascular. They couldn't. They just took off what they could. I recovered. I went home. I had a couple of follow-up checks, and this is what gets me. I was told by an endocrinology specialist, a neurosurgeon specialist, not to worry, because this is it's not cancer, it's not any kind of malignancy. I'm like, okay, cool. London want me to have some follow-up kind of chemotherapy, just to be safe, and I've accepted all the treatment. However, I did not receive any treatment, and I kept chasing it up. I've got a paper trail of emails, phone calls, everything else. Even when the paralysis in my legs started, I contacted London and they basically ignored me. Just said, don't worry about it, you know. Next thing you know, I've lost all feeling in my legs. I have some minor movement, but I lost all feeling in my legs. I wasn't a security guard anymore. That's a story for another video, and that's a very interesting story. But at that time I was working with adults with learning disabilities as a support worker, which was an absolutely fantastic job. I was good at it, and I actually really, really miss it, because the place I worked at was just brilliant. But yeah, unfortunately I fell down the stairs because my legs they went. And due to their risk assessment criteria, even though it was a disabled building with plenty of aids and whatnot for the people we were supporting, I didn't meet the criteria anymore. So back into hospital. They rushed me over to Brighton, blue lighted me. At this point, by the way, I'd like to add, I was really worried trying to contact London day and night. I hadn't actually slept properly in 4 days, so I was very sleep deprived. So I got rushed over to Brighton. No one told me what was going on. I was just getting blue lighted over to Brighton. I was admitted and I was told, you need surgery now. And I'm like, I can't process this, I can't. I was like, leave me alone. Like, go away, come back to me tomorrow. Like, I need some sleep. So I got a load of drugs off the nurses, and I had some sleep. Then the next day they've come back. They told me, you don't need surgery. However, we strongly advise However, there is a significant risk that you will bleed out on the table and die. Even if we are to take a bit of time embolizing as much as we possibly can first, the risk is significant. So I asked them, what's going to happen if I don't have the surgery? I was like, is this life-threatening at the moment? They said no, but you will eventually be paralysed. So I took my chances and I just left it at that. I'm currently under palliative care with my local hospice, and I'm all right. You know, I'm not living the life that I was, but you know, I'm cracking on. I'm making the best of a shitty situation. My prime focus is, you know, just being there for my kids as long as I can, and yeah. So that's that, really. I don't know if it made much sense, but there's a brief sort of insight into my endocrine cancer. And well, I guess that's the end of this drive. Yeah, that was that video. There's a number of small problems there, like my car. The outside of it was absolutely fucking filthy. I didn't realise. It has been cleaned, so it will be better. I've also picked up a better mic, and I have replaced my phone with a 14 Pro Max now, so I should be able to get better footage and much crisper sounding audio for you for next time, and hopefully drown out the kind of constant background drone of the car. But yeah, cheers if you stuck it out, and as always, this is Dropkick Jimmy signing off.